Welcome to By Faith. My name is Mary Bell Johnson, and today I would like to talk about the spiritual world. Another thing is Jesus speaking in parables. Why do we think Jesus spoke in parables? He spoke in parables because it was like a coded language, right? It was almost like a coded message that only those that really wanted to hear what God was saying, that were inclined to listen to that spiritual message, they were able to hear what was being said. Those that were just hearing and not listening to it, they were the ones by whom the message would just pass by. They would not get to the deeper level of whatever God was saying in that moment. So Jesus did not really step away from speaking in parables because that's the way that he wanted for people. Well, he actually distinguished one from another, right? Another point is also that he did explain it to his disciples. I believe that sometimes we read through the Bible and we just go and we just go and we just go and we read, oh yeah, I guess I understood. But what struck me at some point was that Jesus went, and if his disciples did not understand what he was even saying in his coded language, in his coded message, he would take them apart or to set them aside, and he would explain it. So he would take his people, set them aside, and reveal whatever they have not understood. So even if we as Christians do not quite get what is being said, God will take us aside if we ask him to, and he will reveal what we did not understand. However, we have to take a moment with him. We have to set ourselves aside. We have to set ourselves apart and be available to him, so that we will actually listen. We will listen more deeper, on a deeper level, to what he is saying. And that takes time. And it also takes practice, right? It takes time until we get to the point where we really understand him. But that also takes the discipline of ourselves to read the Bible regularly, because that's how we get to know God better, and we can distinguish, well, what is from God and what is not from God when the message comes. And also, we want to make sure that we do not digress from listening to the Lord in a way that we want to hear from him. The thing is, we sometimes just pray and we leave. But what he really wants is for us to take the time to listen to him. Take the moment and listen. And sometimes it happens even while we're praying that God will give us a message. It can very much happen that you are praying and he's speaking to you. At least it has happened to me that I would pray and he's given me input, inspiration. He's given me a word. He's, saying something that I should maybe share or that I should apply in my own life. But he will not necessarily always come to you like blasting it to you. If there's a deeper thing that he wants us to know, just like you and I would go and we have like these bubbling news in us and we want to tell our friend about it, but it's a secret. We don't want for it to get out yet, or we don't want for it to get out at all. Just our close friends are privy to that beautiful information. We go and we let them know, and we don't scream it out into the world. We speak it to them in private. So privacy is a very, very pivotal point to acknowledge also in this point. We also don't necessarily always get to the point where we see miracles happening, but miracles, signs and wonders, they do happen in the spiritual realm. Some of us, or maybe many of us, have not really been a witness to that, because we are so inclined to always have an explanation to everything that is happening that we just, I don't know, it's almost like we are so anxious to say, well, it's something supernatural. It just happened, And I think that we should move away from that and have a balance in that. Yes, there are many things that we can absolutely explain, and we should explain it, because sometimes you will want to defend your faith in front of people that do not have access to that kind of thought process or that realm, right? So you do want to come more so with logic that they can understand, as opposed to with the supernatural talk that they just don't have access to, right? So there should be a balance of, yes, there is logic in many things that are that come from God's side. However, there's a supernatural part that will never be understood by us, and the faster we understand that part, the better off we are, because we can accept that God is God. We don't have to act as if we were God and we have all of that knowledge that explains everything, right? Because then why would we need God? We do need God because He reveals things to us, because He is our guide. He's everything to us. He's the eyes that we don't really have, right? He's the ears that we don't really have, to a world that is concealed to our eyes, concealed to our physical ears, concealed to everything that is fleshly operated. So in order to really be close to God on a deeper level and not just on the surface, it takes us to be open for the spiritual world, the spiritual realm. There are certain verses, for instance, that I would also like to read to y'all, and that is, for instance, 1 Corinthians 2:9, which says, "However, as it is written, what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things God has prepared for those who love Him." Or Galatians 5:16, "So I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh." 1 Corinthians 2:10. These are the things God has revealed to us by His Spirit. The Spirit searches all things, even the deep things of God. Deuteronomy 29:29. "The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may follow all the words of this law." So we see in some verses, we just see really those verses speaking of the Spirit, speaking of the spiritual, and they're meeting and finding whatever God has in store for us. These are the deeper things of God. We will not find them on the surface level. We will not find them only by logic and by simply going after the things that our minds to perceive as understandable. Okay, so we do have to search for the deeper things of God. So as I said, yes, there is another side to it, of the spiritual realm. I was more so inclined to speak about the part that belongs to the things of God, as opposed to whatever the enemy is bringing in, right? Because he always has a portion, he always has another side, because he's the opponent, right? And yes, there is the side, and we have to always be careful and mindful that we do not use these tools that the enemy is bringing in for us to go and come in sideways and do corrupted things, because that's when we enter the dark side of the spiritual realm. This is something that we need to be aware of. It's pivotal for us to be aware of it. I will probably speak on that in another video, but this part here is very pivotal for us to also understand, so that we can be open to the beautiful, miraculous, and overwhelming things that God brings, that are beautiful, though, not the negative part, as I said. And and move into seeing these supernatural things that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard, and even the mind has not perceived, right? So it is important for us to be on that track and be welcoming to that side, bearing in mind that there's another side to it that is very, very important to understand, and also important to keep away from us. But as I said, that's part of another video. And I hope honestly that this part blessed you, that it brought a little bit more understanding as to why we should be open to the spiritual world, meaning more so to the things of God. As always, we do want to remember or bear in mind that everything in the Lord moves by faith. Be blessed.